I learned a couple of things this past week. One was that, well, I've known this fact for a little while, that we have an author in our midst. And I'm going to call on this individual here in a minute. He's done some phenomenal work here in the church, and he's written a book. And he's produced it in two different formats. One is you can take your iPad or your computer and you can read his book. And it's coming out in print very shortly. And so I want to introduce you to this author. James, could you come forward, please? Did you know that this is James? Welcome, James, to our service this morning.
Thank you.
Now, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing for some time, I presume, and producing this.
My thirst for learning of God really increased a lot. And one thing that was of interest to me was the creation account in Genesis. And I didn't necessarily think it was true because of my scientific understanding of the universe and many things associated with that. And I had talked to the pastor about the creation days, how long they were. And he told me, referring back to the original Hebrew scriptures, that there are 6 literal 24-hour days. Well, there's obviously a conflict in the science we've been taught to what the Bible says. So my quest began, about a year and a half ago maybe, in trying to learn the truth of the matter. Is there an error in Genesis, or is what we've been taught in school in error? So a number of months ago, I gave a presentation on the scientific evidences of God. That was after a lot of research, and I've been continuing that. And I came up with a draft of a book, and I presented it to the pastor to review. And he corrected me on a few scriptural things that I was a little bit in error on. And he says, "You have no citations in this book." And I says, "Well, it wasn't going to be a book. I was just learning for myself. I didn't really think of making a book." And he said, "Well, you should really have some citations." So I went back to work, and I spent more time reverse engineering my book to find the citations that I used for references in making it. And I'm glad I did, because it makes the book very, very much more interesting. You mentioned it's in 2 versions. Actually, it's 3 versions. It's in iPad, or it's called iBooks for iPad. Also in Kindle. These are the digital versions. And the nice thing about these are there's the citation references throughout that have active links to websites and YouTubes. And in me going through this exercise of making the citations, it really brought home more the awesomeness of God. Because in there I have references to the universe and some fantastic imagery from NASA and the ESA. And I go right down into the creation of life itself and the complexity of the human cell, and it's phenomenal. And there's videos on this within the book, and it's absolutely mind-blowing. It blows my mind how incredibly complex and beautiful and wondrous this is. We truly have an awesome God. It's going to be out in paperback soon. This is a draft of the book. And when I get back, I'm going to have to go away in a little while. But in a little while longer, I'll be coming back. And then I'll have my paperback books, and I'll have several of those in the library. But if someone wants the digital book, that would be the greatest, because again, it's just got these awesome video links that just make it so, how can you say, visually exciting, and it shows the awesome power of God. It's just incredible. It just blows my mind, and I'm done research on this. So I now know that Genesis is true. And why does my book say James as the author? My first name is James, but I've always been called by my middle name, Thomas, since childhood. And that was appropriate because I was a doubting Thomas. I doubted everything. I needed to see proof for evidence of it. And now I have seen it. So I'm now authoring the book under my first name, James. So Scientific Evidences of God, author James Beck.
Okay, that's the book. Now we all